Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, your previous favourite podcast. With me tonight is top right-hand corner. It's the Egyptian's finest. It's Richard. How you doing? Shipper, shap, shap.
Yeah, I am Dimona Magneka. How you doing, brother? I'm good. How are you?
We have done our DNA, and we are both. Well, he knows he is because his dad is, but I've done mine, and on my DNA says I'm Egyptian and Greek and possibly a little bit German. But we don't talk about that.
It's fine. We've opened you, welcomed you into the brotherhood with open arms, mate.
Yeah, and oddly, my favourite bit of Michael Palin's Around the World in 80 Days is when my screen's gone off again. Fuck's sake! Is when he was in Egypt and he had a donkey pulling the cart, and the donkey had an English name. Talking of donkeys, with us also tonight is Josh and the plant. We had a plant like that, and we called it Uncle from the Drogna game. Wasted on all of you. How you doing, Josh?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. I'm assuming we're going by everything below the belt when we're talking about donkeys and nothing to do with me, generally.
Has your 14-year-old nephew asked for his headphones back yet?
Hey, I've had these for ages. People in the chat love them. They're Xbox coloured and everything. And they were cheaper because they were this colour. And
much like yourself.
Yeah, I'm a cheaper option.
Well, it's lovely to have you both here. We should have also had the man whose name begins with E. We're not going to mention him. It begins with an E and ends in an S, and the bloke lives in Norwich, and it's not Nick. He should have been with us, but he got bullied, and he bought a new shitty laptop that doesn't come with automatic ports for headphones or the internet, and he didn't realise that because the boy is a very silly boy. So this person whose name begins with E, where is this person at the moment, Josh?
He is at the bottom of his garden,
where
it's taken so long for his garden shed to be built. The standard of internet that he had put into it is no longer a modern style. So that's why he needs an adapter for his laptop.
His life.
And yeah, that is why he is now very much in the naughty corner.
He is. He's having a word with himself.
Yeah, and I think if people haven't understood it, I think we've been clear enough that Mr. Email is Mr. Ellis M. Is we will not utter his name.
And I've put in the group, I've made a proclamation. You must all shun him for 1 week. Do not utter his name. How do you feel about that, Richard? Is that harsh justice or is that fair?
I think it's fair justice. To be fair, You make a declaration that you're going to be there, and you can't make it. You got you do the crime. You got to serve the time. So sorry, Mr. E.
And it is time he is indeed serving. Also, a side note, you will see. Remember that from the last podcast a couple of weeks ago, I said that's it. Spotify, iTunes, blah, 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 all gone, no more, because I've paid for everything for these last few years, £200 a year, because you fuckers never give us any money. YouTube don't give us any fucking money. We can't afford it. Fuck the lot of you. And Femi went, how much is it? I'll pay for it. So we used, what's his name? Stefan was kind enough to give us 20 quid. Don't give us money via YouTube, for fuck's sake. We got £11.37 out of the £20 that Stefan gave us. And so I used that, plus the £1.37 we made from the last podcast. So Femi gave us 65 quid, put the rest in, turned it back on last night. And in less than 12 hours, you lot have given us 435 views on our SoundCloud. SoundCloud feeds iTunes and Spotify and Acast and all those other platforms. So that's where we host it. And they feed them. And they've gobbled it all up. So we are back on that for at least the next 12 months. Right, let's have a look.
Femi's going to be so annoyed when he listens back to this. And because you told him it was £1,000. That's what he sent you. That's what he told me.
I need a new PC. That's why this bloody monitor keeps turning itself off. That's where the rest of the money's gone. He doesn't know anyway. I just saw a Lamborghini Huracan come park up outside the front of mine. Someone wedged a 1 kilo bar of gold through my letterbox and drove off. I thought it must have been Femi. Obviously, he didn't get out the car. I mean, he wouldn't lower himself to be in Godmanchester, but I think he had one of his men do it. And
I
so
think
I
you put on,
off.
those special plastic shoe covers you get at hospitals. He put a pair of those on before he stepped out the car.
He went full Dexter. Right, say hello to the people in the chat. Jimmy H, how are you, sir? Lovely to have you here. Formerly knows us, still knows us. Lovely. Josh D, have you changed your name again? It didn't used to be just Josh.
Oh.
The artist formerly known as. It's all no, yeah. We all we had stuff to do. Who else is there? Phil Macker, as always. It's like waiting for a girlfriend to get ready. Always takes forever. Bulgaria Drago. Evening, gents. Lovely to have you. Sai and Vesh is here. So we are starting hashtag Arteta out. 2 out of the 4 preseason wins calls for sacking. We're going to come to that. Noza says, Donkey, you mean Luzhny. Phil says, the headphone, do you look like a Poundland special? That's just rude. Jimmy H, the headphones are what you see in a children's case of special need. Do loud noises upset you, Joshy?
No.
Fair enough, that's that covered. And Josh says, I feel like I am repping this. Fuck the Seattle Sounders. It's Portland Timbers all the way, bros. Right, start off with you, Richard. I've made a few notes. I'm opening the show, and then after that, it is going to be like a dining room full of fatties with an open buffet. It's all out. Go whenever you want, do what you want. It's all out war. So I'll start off, Rich, with how do we feel about the players we have bought? 189 million spent for 13 players, 6 senior and 7 youth players. We've started rebuilding the under 21s. If you need any names, let me know. But if not, carry on.
Well, I'll start off with the youths. I know very little about this. I know I used to follow old George Bird whilst I was still doing the old Twitter stuff, but I don't know. I know that last season there was a massive cull of a lot of the under 21s and youth sides and stuff like that. So I don't know massive amounts that's coming in. As far as the senior squad, I've actually been okay with it. To be fair, it's been pleasantly not surprising because it was players that we needed, kind of thing. But I just wish that the order was done slightly differently, because, like, for instance, when all the vitriol from when Madueke signed, who personally I actually rate. I think he's a good player. I did like him when he was at PSV, but obviously once he went over to Chelsea, he was dead to me. And he's only been recently been resurrected and come alive again. But I think had we had signed Gyökeres first and then Madueke afterwards, I think there would have been a lot more less vitriol around his signing. But all of the signings seem to be an upgrade on what we had, or and what we need. Even, like I say, the renewals, when you think about Nwaneri, Myles, Lewis-Skelly. Has Big Gabby signed his new contract yet?
I think he did. It's Saliba, the one we're waiting for.
So, there's some fantastic work coming in, and, securing the future of the club. It's really, really positive. And like I said, you look at the likes of Zubimendi, he definitely, raises our floor and is a fantastic addition. I think when you think of Norgaard, I think he is an improvement on the tired legs that was Juninho, God bless him. You look at Madueke, I think, considering we didn't have a proper winger outlet or replacement for Saka or a left-footed option up front, and then you think of like Mosquera, who has been very, very. I don't watch La Liga. I haven't even heard of him before we signed him, but he looks quite impressive. And you think he's, just by him being in the squad and not being dead, is an improvement on Tomiyasu, which was a shame because I really, really love Tomiyasu. But yeah, I don't see a massive a negative reaction to it. I don't know about you guys.
I realised I've muted myself. I was ready to comment.
You're on mute, Josh.
I'm not on mute anymore.
Let's go.
I agree. In terms of, I think it's been a pretty positive window. There's a lot of mental gymnastics going on to be honest, I would say, find any way to not say that this isn't upwards of an 8 out of 10 window for us, for the first team especially. You know what? Even the people that love to crunch the numbers, look at the cost we got, the price we paid for Gyökeres. Zubimendi in. It was a deal that showed that we're still, we're still the number one team in London for drawing anybody in. And to the point that, it's maybe coincidence that we're a London-based team and London is a great city where people want to move to, that it is a draw for people above moving to the northwest, should we say. There's still people that want to do that. So we can bring these players in who want to train under Arteta as well. I think there's a lot of a lot of them want to put a downer on what has been a very good window. I think there's still more to come. We could still moan about, we can't get players out. But again, there's 2 weeks to go. And it's about it's about how the kind of biosphere of the transfer window works, isn't it? That the players people want go early. And then we're left with the players that are going to end up going to the lesser teams who have had their players taken. And then they're going out to market. So we could have that conversation about Fabio Vieira, for example. There's a really good case in point. All right. Porto didn't want him. Fine. Stuttgart want him. But Stuttgart needed to sell the person that they were going to replace him with. And he only sold him last week. So they could get some things ready. But how much effort from a Vieira side, from his agent's side, do I want to put into a move that requires other things to happen? Probably not going to get ready with everything signed and sealed for it just to tick box, because who knows what might happen in that transfer could break down, and then great, all of his eggs were in a bag for Stuttgart. He's got to keep his options open. So it's going to be a bit slower.
What happened to Zinchenko AC Milan? Did they buy a replacement instead?
They bought Estepinian from Brighton instead of their left back.
What about, wasn't he linked to Dortmund as well, or is that an old one from last summer?
And then they sacked the manager.
January.
It was January, and then they sacked the manager who wanted him. So it's been unfortunate for Zinchenko. Obviously, we've heard he's speaking to the New York Times again, or the Athletic, depending on which URL you want to jump into, about how his season was. It's his annual. I'll speak to the press, and I think we've shown at least, or what Berta I think has shown, is getting players in, great at it. We really enjoyed the games that he played between playing off RB Leipzig and Sporting Lisbon. What's happening now is people are doing that to us. That's where we're now getting frustrated. But you know what? You've got to play the game, right? If we're happy to play games with people, we've also got to be involved in those games. Personally, I think the Eze business is part of that, right? With Spurs, is Palace doing it to us, going, well, you know what? Tottenham Hotspur might need him because James Maddison's out for the season now. So, they're going to go in for him. But then transpires they don't want to pay his release clause anyway. Yeah, he did his ACL.
I know he did his out, but wow.
Yeah, he's out for the season.
Brilliant.
So,
And I think I was just going to say, like with as far as the Eze thing, I think, obviously people are losing their shit over that, but I think that's only because Spurs want him. I think I would covet Eze. I think he's a fantastic player. I was watching the Charity Shield, and even like some of our preseason games, and I was thinking, like, where does Eze really, really fit in without us moving on players? And that, I think that injury to Trossard during pre-season was maybe put a bit of a dampener on a potential sale for there. But the other thing I was going to mention is, because I think you're right, Josh, in the sense of Bert has done brilliantly on the buying sale. On the buying front, we've now got to see how he is on the selling front. And I think, yes, I get what you mean about the, what we did to Leipzig and that teams are now going to do to us. But I think the other thing that I think colours it is the fact that you look at Chelsea and Liverpool, who seem to conjure up fees for players. I don't know where they pull these fees and these transfers. It seems like they're so easy. It's seemingly so easy for them to make sales, and it's just always been a struggle for us.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely something that, I mean, we know what the media is like in the UK in terms of doing anti-Liverpool pieces. It's never going to happen. But there's got to be someone who's done a deep dive on how their fees are reported compared to other clubs, because I'm sure they're lumping in everything at that point. They're including agent fees, they're including everything in the sale. And for a purchase, oh no, all of those are stripped out. Because looking at some of the fees that they were talking about, it was like, oh, no, you know what? Verts wasn't actually 112 million. It was actually 100 million because we're choosing to remove certain bits and pieces from the equation that we'll definitely then mention when Jarrell Kwanzaa is sold to Bayer Leverkusen, and we'll go, oh, yeah, it's 35 million. You're like, is it really 35 million euros you've got for him? And you kind of look through it.
Isn't that the thing as well? I swear they did. It was reported. I think it was in the Athletic or maybe the Mirror. John Cross a couple of years ago, where it was they did everything. They did Liverpool sales and stuff like or purchases in like pounds, and then when it came to us, all our reporting was in euros. And it's just like little things like that, and I was just like, it just annoys me. But they've all, like how Liverpool all them years ago smuggled. Was it 19 million for Jordan Ibe? I think it was.
Yeah.
Like we just can't seem to, and we can't seem to give players away. But hopefully, Berta, eventually gets better at it, and we get a network and an infrastructure in place where we could start making a profit on these players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one that, without going and sounding a bit too, we've got the net spend meme, and now we've got it's a PSR profit meme as well, of going, oh, well, actually, if we sold Vieira for more than 10 million this window, then technically it's booked as a profit rather than, and yeah, I think there's, so many things that we can look at in that way to say, is it successful or is it not? Ultimately, it's so confusing now that we shouldn't have to care at that point. I'm looking at the incomings. Look at what's come in. Is it a problem that much that Lukonga's still here? Is it a problem that Zinchenko's still here? I've not heard any of them actually kicking up a fuss. That's only when it becomes a problem, right? If they start leaking to the media or you hear of them being unsettled. No one's gone full Isak, have they? Just yet. Everyone who we're trying to get rid of is a fringe, and we know that they're a fringe player. Only one I would have expected to have moved a little bit quicker would have been Reece Nelson. But I think the other thing that comes into it is a player of that kind of quality, you probably have loads of really varied offers, especially now with Saudi Arabia added into the mix. That do you either go, I'll spend a couple of seasons there. It's slowly but surely, it's showing that you can go to Saudi Arabia and come back to European football, even if your legs have gone. In Jordan Henderson's, I don't know how he's managed it.
Where did he go? Another Premier League team? Which one was it? Burnley?
Brentford. So he went from, he left there, went to Ajax.
Yeah.
They had their historic worst season ever, and now he's ended up at Brentford. Yeah, and I think that's part of it, that there is that opportunity. And then, of course, you know how we're saying, oh, yeah, Fulham, he could end up staying in London and maybe challenge for European football. But I bet there's a load of clubs, some like Portugal, France, Spain, all of those clubs that are Europa League stalwarts, or probably Conference League stalwarts, and guaranteed that. It's another option for him as well. So I don't think it's quite so easy for these players at this level. for what options they've got on the table for them.
I think also with Nelson, his injury record is a big negative factor in trying to get
of last season.
Mm.
I mean, if you rate yourself as a player, you're not going to worry about going to the likes of West Ham, possibly Aston Villa, Newcastle. Because if you rate yourself and you're good enough, then you'll shine in that side, like Grealish did for Villa, like Kudos did for West Ham. Then you're going to get a move. If you don't rate yourself, you're not going to want to go there because you're going to be an average player amongst average players. And then eventually your team's going to fall apart or you're going to get sold on again. And we have seen so many players leave the Arsenal and become journeyman players, going from the Premier League down to the Championship, then moving abroad, new start, then coming back and you're playing in the Championship. Then, I mean, look at Super Bob Holding. Did you hear where he went?
He's gone to Colorado Rapids.
MLS,
gone to MLS and Colorado Rapids. You're both right.
Yeah.
And he's at what? He's still only 26 years old or something like that. He signed 29. For us 30 years ago.
He's 29 and his girlfriend moved to LA. Fucking idiot.
Oh, I mean, that's just directly below it though, isn't it?
Yeah, on the opposite side of the country.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Portland is right above on top of it.
No.
Yeah, so, there's plenty of players that are worried about the move. But luckily, I've had to go and turn my other monitor off, so I can't see my notes. But luckily, I've put them in our private chat. So, a yes or a no? Are we all happy about the players we bought, and are they worth 189 million we spent, Richard?
Yes and yes.
Josh?
Yeah, I think it's I think there's.
Well, you give it an 8, didn't you?
I see. I give it an 8. I think what would be interesting is you can go through all the youths we brought in and what positions they play, because that's the one that has had less of a light shone on it. I think we've only really heard about the problems, or not necessarily the problems. They're going Aiden Heaven leaving. Same with Obi as well, both going to United.
Yep. But they'll never get anything there. They'll end up at Sunderland in a couple of years in the Championship.
Yeah, and then in terms of what we brought in, a couple of strikers.
We have, from the information I've been managed to get from other places, because I know nothing, we've got Marcel Washington from Chelsea, a 17-year-old left back. I don't think he cost us anything. We had him on trial last season. He played well because we've had a left back crisis at the lower levels of the lower age brackets at the club. So we signed him. We've got Callan Hamill, a 16-year-old centre-back, reported as a 6-figure fee. We got him from St Johnstone in Scotland. That's how you say it. We got Damien Augustine, whose dad once played in the Premier League for someone. He was at Derby County. He is an 18-year-old attacking midfielder, undisclosed fee. And his stats I wrote down are last season for the under-18s, played 5, scored 3 and 3 assists. We also signed Kingston Hay. Oh, you're thinking, hey, that surname Hay sounds familiar. He is the son of former heavyweight boxing champion David Hay. Now, he's only 11 years old, central midfielder, and we got him from Sutton United. We got Remy Lupinski from MK Dons, 16-year-old goalkeeper. And then we've had a couple of trials, including that. Phoenix, what a name. Blaney from Larne in Northern Ireland. He's on trial, 15-year-old goalkeeper. Archie Stevens, he's been released by Rangers in Scotland. He's 19 years old, right winger, quick as lightning. And so he's on trial with us. And that was up until the weekend. So I don't know if we've had any in the last, it's Thursday now, play. See, that's what happens when you're an unemployed bum. You just do nothing all the time. So, they're the young players we've got, because, as you know, with the next part of the question, Josh, come to you, start with this. How do we feel about the players leaving for 9 million of your finest English sovereigns? 5 senior, 2 back on loan, and 15 youth players. Some of the players that have been told to get fucked are Max Kuzinski, Jakai Fisher, Reece Claremont, Zach Schwab, Jaden Aditiba, Nathan Butler-OJ, Kylan Edwards, Romari Ford, Jimmy Gower, Jack Henry Francis, to be sure, Brian Okongwa, whose brother is now the goalkeeper at Wrexham. He left a couple of years ago. Ismail Oland, Salah Adin Oland, Elan, Crusader Thorn, and Atomic actually doesn't really count because it was contract terminated. So what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, obviously we would hope that we'd have a few more players out at this point, but I think the most important thing for me is we've got our first choice central midfielder, number 6, in during pre-season. The same goes for our new striker, is in before pre-season, or during the start of the season at least. And I think the same for backup across the wing. We've also signed Ethan to a new contract as well. So I think there's plenty of... I would prefer we did our business that way round. Let's put it that way. If I know what it would have been like if we'd sold Zinchenko, sold Jesus, sold...
we got no players. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. We've got no players. What's going on? This is an outrage. Yeah, it's fine. I think there's still work to do in terms of incomings as well. So we now need to... It seems like we've moved to... Let's actually sort the rest of these players out in terms of moving them on. Got there before we then bring in anybody, just in case we need to still utilize them. I think there are still maybe, I'd probably say 2 players at least that I would like to add to the squad if all of the fringe players went that I expect to go. But we're not talking about important first team, like starting 11 players to come in. Richard thinks, as you said, with Eze, right? We're not looking for... He's not going to start for us, put it that way. Or at least he isn't in our strongest 11, I would say, right now. We could argue the same for Gyökeres, to be fair. That I think still we might go into it and have a sneaking suspicion that Havertz might start on Sunday. But yeah, I think I'm not too worried. I'd start to get worried when we're on deadline day and there's an hour left and we've heard nothing and we've still got all these players on our books.
And we're banging the top of the fax machine going, fucking work, you bastard! We need the players! And then we go, oh no, broke it.
Josh, who's the 2 that you said you wanted to bring in?
I still think we need that kind of creative player in the final third.
As a backup for Odegaard.
I don't want to... Not necessarily a backup to Odegaard, but something different.
Someone to beat him up.
Because we've also got Ethan as well. And is Ethan the backup for Saka?
Has there been an explanation, Josh, before you say that, about why Ethan was dropped for Arsenal for the last third of the season, and also why he went from a regular starter for the under-21s for England to only coming on as a sub? He did it for club and country. So that makes me think there might have been a fitness issue.
Could have been fitness. Could have been he had to get his A-levels done. Could have been right down to that kind of level. It's like Max Dowman, why he didn't play the Emirates Cup. It's because we've let him have a school holiday because he's fucking 15.
Yeah, the day trip on the bus to Skegness for the school.
Exactly. I think that's some of the things that we forget about some of these young players. They've got other things that, we don't set up our youth players to have a potential problem. If they don't make it, all of the, you listed off the released players that we've got rid of. They'll all have their GCSEs. They'll all be studying their A-levels. They'll all be going in the right direction. So I think when I kind of looking at that, without saying Eze is the player I think we should bring in, it's that kind of player in that mold.
Beautiful.
Someone that can play out left, someone that can play in the middle, and offers a different option because,
he's not predictable. He's a player that you can just let go out and not be predictable, and you can't defend against that.
But he can also do the predictable as well in terms of we saw towards the end of Southgate's reign when he was playing that left winger style that he could be quite serviceable, coming back, very happy to do the hustle, much like we want from all of our wingers. I think the other player and it's possibly because I haven't really worked it out in my head, is I feel like, and it's just an instinct, that we're light in central midfield. But I'm not entirely sure what's coming in.
Getting the ball back or passing the ball on?
Well, I think it's one that I feel like I just need to kind of work it out. Because who have we got as midfield now? We've got Zubimendi, Rice, Norgaard, and then for other central midfielders,
Merino.
That's probably where I'm forgetting. So we've got 4 midfielders in there, where previously we've had 5, maybe a few more there. It just depends on the system that we're playing, I think. That's where Eze, I think, could also do that role a little bit deeper, because he's got that engine in case we need somebody who is attacking, a bit like Odegaard. You know, when Odegaard has to drop deep to pick the ball up off the centre-backs. And we also then need somebody further ahead as well, that those two could dovetail quite nicely. Yeah, I think I'm putting a lot into the Eze basket. It also comes down to what we do with Havertz as well. Is Havertz a striker, or is Havertz also available to be somewhere a little bit deeper? And then,
See, that's where I kind of struggled with Eze, because especially if we don't, as long as we don't make any sales, because I'm like, we've when you think of it, when we play 3 in that midfield, if you look at depth chart wise, you've got Odegaard backing up him is now going to be Nwaneri. You've got Zubimendi, his backup's going to be Norgaard. It seems like, especially for most of last season, what with Party who was there, Rice is in that left 8 kind of thing. And if you haven't got Rice, you've then got Merino, and if you know, failing them two, you've also got Havertz, who we bought to play in that zone. And unless you're binning off one of either Martinelli or probably the more likely, it looks like Trossard, to put Eze in there where Madueke has played, or his couple of cameos has been on that side. So that's why I was kind of like, as much as I do want Eze, and I think he'd be a fantastic addition, I don't think we necessarily massively need him, and we don't need him in right now in the sense of, because we've got to make sales first. And that's why I think like the Spurs thing is annoying, because they really need him. A, because their team's rubbish, and B, they've lost Maddison, they've sold Son, and Gibbs White got taken hostage by Mr. Marinakis. So they desperately need him. So I think they're going to be more willing to just pull the trigger and do the release clause thing.
Yeah, but that's career suicide immediately, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree so. But that's why it's kind of like, I'm trying. Maybe it's me trying to manage my expectations or manage my thing, because it makes more sense for them to buy him than it does to us right at this minute. If if we had made a couple of sales already, then I could probably see that a little bit more, I guess. But, who do you think we're going to sell? Who do you reckon is definitely gone?
I think definitely gone. Sambi is definitely gone.
Zinchenko has to go for the money he's on. He's on 8 million a year.
I think Zinchenko, probably is going because of the case of selling, or he goes on a free, right? He's pretty close to running his contract down.
7.8 million a year.
Yeah, those are the definites, I think, without trying to work out whoever was out on loan last season not involved. And then you've got the question on Jesus. I think we could... It's interesting that he turned up for the media day, put it that way.
Was he doing the drinks?
Well, he wasn't there when the kit was launched. I think he was one of 4 players that wasn't in the new kit, and then he was there for media day. It might be because he was busy doing his rehab still in Brazil, because he is back fit now, or at least, he might be training.
I think he's back out on grass. I think I saw a picture that he posted. He's back out on grass now.
Yeah.
But I think Carl Hein and everybody, they were all there for media day and got their pictures taken. So it's but yeah. So I would imagine Carl Hein, Zinchenko, Lokonga, Vieira gone. And do you think someone will come in and get Kivior?
I would like us to do something really smart, and maybe it's within Berta's wheelhouse, and that start speaking to Mark Gay about coming in free next year. So you screw Liverpool over, who desperately need a centre-back.
Weren't they looking at spending 50 on him?
No, because he's in his last year of his contract.
Yeah, but they were linked this season for a £50 million link to him.
Yeah, they are. They're linked with it, but the issue is he doesn't want to go there because it will affect his World Cup place. Because he doesn't start necessarily, he's got to start competing. So we say, hey, you stay at Palace.
We plan him for when Saliba goes to Real Madrid.
We plan him for when we sell. No, because Konate's going to Real Madrid. Liverpool is screwed, by the way. No one's talking about it.
You've been preaching that in the pod. Tell people what you've been saying about their squad is fucked.
It is. They've signed their centre back, who's just shown that he's absolutely lost it. And meanwhile, Slot's building a glass cannon. He's ripped all the clock bits out of it now. And their defence is going to be a problem. They've signed 2 fullbacks who are allergic to defending to replace one who was allergic to defending and another one whose legs have gone. I think it's similar as last season where you could start to see it happening, but they kept getting away with it. I think this season they're going to drop a few more points for sure. Konate is running down his contract to join Real Madrid next summer on a free. So I'd be saying to Mark Gay, which is one of their options, come join us on a free. You're getting into the World Cup. You don't have to move out of London. Gabriel's another year older, but you know what? We've got it. We've got Kivior is a space there. That's kind of us showing there is opportunity for him, and he gets that big move that he wants as well. Possibly, we'll get on to predictions, coming to the Premier League champions at that point, we hope. Maybe the treble winners. Who knows? We can only hope. We've already secured the Emirates Cup, so it's 2 more to go. So yeah, I think that's the really smart thing if we're going cutthroat, is we try and go after Liverpool's targets and stop them having any centre backs, because they've just signed an 18-year-old.
That's strong.
Centre back.
We were also after a £200,000 Salford striker, and we'd agreed a deal, and then he went to Liverpool instead.
Yeah, I heard that as well. It's because he didn't want to move, really, did he?
Well, fair enough.
So, if you're going to go from Salford to Liverpool, it's a bit different than coming to London. That sounds to me like he wants to stay near his mates. Doesn't want to move out from home, that kind of stuff. So, I think Liverpool's an interesting phase, but that's where I would kind of look at, is for us to sort out centre-back for next summer, and then probably go for Kivior. Off you go. Maybe there's something coming in. I think we've still got an opportunity. But then we have that worry, eternal worry, of Calafiori's fitness. Because he has been...
That's why I'd be reluctant to sell Kivior.
I would as well. I wouldn't begrudge him if he said, look, an offer's come in, and if it hits our numbers, then he went. A bit like... maybe it's taken a while. We're getting up to 39 minutes, so I'm going to do my first mention of Brighton. How they do the sell, that every player has their price and they won't stand in the way. If a club comes in, matches the club valuation, then fine, you can go. And I feel like that's the same with Kivior as well. That's for me. I think that's the question.
Have you renewed for this season?
On what?
For your Brighton season ticket?
No.
Why?
I didn't do it last summer.
Huh?
I refused to. No, I didn't like the direction they were going in. They're doing lots of things that are very un-Brighton-y.
Hasn't he sold part of his ownership?
He's done something weird with his ownership. But not fully. It's the other guy that's selling. Brentford guy's selling up.
Oh, might be. So, why are you poo-pooing on Brighton? You've been a Brighton glory boy since they were in the 4th Division South.
It's true. It's true. And then they tried to think that they were a Premier League guys. And they were like, here you go. Here's, we can charge you London prices. I think
is that what they're
part
doing?
Of it. Oh, it's more expensive for a season ticket at Brighton than it is at the Emirates this season.
Fuck about.
In the same area of the ground, of along the flank side. Yeah. So I think that's it. That I am not. I didn't like the way they were playing football. Yeah, brought in a manager that doesn't know how to build a competent midfield. So no, things aligned properly. That I was like, no, it's fine.
Oh,
Really
oh God, the screen's gone off again. There we go. Fuck, I hate this computer. If anybody knows why, let me know. I've got 2 monitors. They'll just flash on and off. The sound will stay, but the picture will just disappear. The more intensive stuff I'm doing, the more it will do it off and on until I reset the computer, and then it might stop doing it for an hour.
sounds like your graphics card.
I was going to say, is it because your graphics card, you threatened it with a hammer earlier on? Is that why it's playing up?
I am going to smash it with a hammer when I get a new PC. Oh, Drago says it's capitalism. Why my PC's doing that? Fair enough. I don't disagree.
I think you were saying capitalism about Brighton's pricing, but yeah.
No. He definitely means this. You were getting poo-pooed there from someone poo-pooed. I think it was Drago. It's always Drago. Mm-hmm. Drago says, you won't be saying that about Liverpool if Isaac goes there, though, Josh.
I think so, because then they'll have 4 forwards who don't do any tracking. They'll have Salah, Isak, Wirtz has also got to fit in there, plus somebody, Ekatike. Yeah, no.
People asking about my PC. It all started when I've got I don't know what it is, but when it updated the firmware about 6 months after I bought it, which is 4.5 years ago, it's just never stopped doing it. Even if I'm using the internet,
when you don't buy a Mac.
Fuck, I'd rather get my Commodore Amiga out than buy a fucking Mac. Should we move on to the next bit, Richard?
Sure.
All right. We've kind of covered this one. Do we expect any more in? And who the hell is going to buy our other players? So, do we expect any more in? Because we've already covered the players that are leaving, haven't
we? Probably yes, but I think it's dependent on sales. I think the long and short, the short answer on that. I think there's definitely there is some room in certain areas, just like when you think about, like the left wing. Maybe some depth cover for if we get rid of Zinchenko in that left back, maybe kind of area or something like that. But I think it's all dependent on ourselves now. I think because I think I was listening to you guys the other day and we were talking about like the squad, or maybe Femi mentioned it in the group. So like the squad, we're going to have to leave out like some serious big name squad players. We won't get them all on the bench. So it's before we bring anybody else in, we're going to definitely need to shore up themselves. So I would say yes, but no.
It is nice though that we have that problem, right?
Yeah.
That we've gone from going. Has anybody gotten into 21s that we can add? We can trick up to the bench, right? Here we go. We've gone around the local schools in Islington and we've filled up the bench with a couple of kids. To now going, well, yeah, from that or how many left backs can we get in the squad? To going, which creative player, which forward player won't make our bench? And I think that's the big change that we've had. And it's where we should keep going. I think we can't, without ending up going and sounding a bit like, actually, no, to paraphrase Gary Neville, this is Arsenal Football Club. We're Arsenal Football Club. And we should have an absolute boatload of creative attacking players within the squad, on the field. We should end up with those moments of, I think I saw it when people were doing, here was some of the most beautiful Arsenal goals of the last 10, 15 years. And we were reminded of that squad that Unai Emery butchered and got rid of that creative heart from there. Where you look at, we had at one point Rosicki, Fabregas, a young Aaron Ramsey, a young Jack Wilshere. You probably had some other creative players at that point, probably Arshavin there, alongside Song, or maybe even we could joke, say Coquelin and Cazorla at that point. All of these players are in and around each other at this kind of generation. And that's what we just need again. That kind of squad where we've still got the steel because we've sorted our defence out, basically. We've got that midfield powerhouse. We just need all those diminutive playmakers and bring them together and start playing some beautiful football again. And I think we started to see that in the Bilbao game. Just look at that move that led to the Saka goal. All right, where we end up with that bit of free-flowing football. Our striker knocks it down for Odegaard to play that beautiful chip over the top. And we end up with our two flying wingers coming in there and their interplay. It's getting closer back to that way of us playing exciting football, because I think there are certain parts of the fan base that the way that we've ended up finishing second, we'd have rather have finished third and played nicer football. Put it that way.
Very true. Drago's put Emery putting Torreira at number 10 was the final nail for me. Yeah, final nail for him as well. That bloke came in and got player of the match 3 times out of 4 games, or 4 out of first 5 games, and then he broke him by doing that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I
do think, going on what you're saying about that, I do think that there's a different style of play that I think we are changing it up. I've seen enough green shoots and enough snippets in training, in the preseason matches of how direct we are going, way more than before. And I think,
like the Havertz goal.
think, like the Havertz goal, but even like what just described, the Saka's goal kind of thing. That wasn't what did they used to call it on the Tuesday Club? The arc of frustration.
That's it.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was direct, fast, quick football. And I think that's what Madueke has been bought for. I think he's an aggressive dribbler. He's an aggressive runner. He's quick. You think of what Yoka is brought in to do. Again, aggressive, get behind. I think there's a little switch in how we're playing. Like I said, in the I think it was in the Spurs preseason game, we played the ball over the top, a diagonal ball over to Saka, and got in time and time and time again, kind of thing. So I do think, because obviously the way football is played now with a lot of teams, it is a lot of counter-attacking teams. You're finding teams sitting deep, 2 banks of however the players are, and then they get the ball and they're relying on having those fast-pacey wingers to just break up the field into acres of green grass, and that's how they're hurting teams and stuff like that. And I think neither, apart from Martinelli, we not really had those kind of attackers up front for a while. And even if we did, like I said, with Martinelli, we never really looked to play those passes. But I've seen it a lot more in pre-season. Not loads, but more.
Someone made a good point. 2 good points. Matt D'Souza, Torreira and Tierney, 2 players that after their first season I never envisaged. Hold on, I'm having a little weep from here. It broke me. Never envisaged their careers taking such a downward spiral. I mean, Torreira just went, fuck this, I'm going. You're not going to fuck me about when I'm a world-class player at times. And Tierney, injured, I got back, and then it was at times he played brilliantly for us last season, but we're not in favour. It's not, we didn't buy him, so he's not interested. And Jimmy H says, when Noni got the ball at the Emirates, the crowd went up because they knew he was going to take his player on. When Martinelli got it there was not even a ripple, and followed up by that. Drago says, because Nelly has his head down all the time, Jimmy, fans have rightfully lost faith in him. Do you want to talk about Martinelli? Because I've got to reset my computer because it's being a C word and I've had enough of it. It keeps turning on and off. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, no.
Hopefully we don't get disconnected.
Yeah, so Rich, in terms of Martinelli, what are your kind of thoughts there with, not only his performances, which I think rightly people are criticising on the last couple of seasons, but also he's homegrown. So there's always that tempting thing to sell him.
It's such a hard one, Martinelli, because it's your head and your heart at conflict with each other, really. He was one of those players that, along with Saka coming through and Smith Rowe and stuff like that, from the embers of the absolute terrible basketball style play we had under Emery, that made us all fall in love with the club again and really got the fans up off their feet. And, at times he's been absolutely fantastic. What I would say about Martinelli is he's never been the cleanest, most technical player. I think you take his speed away from him and you take out his aggressiveness, and I barely think that he's, that might be a bit harsh, but I don't think he's a Premiership level player, because I think technique wise, I think he lacks a fair bit, kind of thing. But I also, on the other hand, to kind of like not completely write him off, when you look, when he gets the ball, like when Saka gets the ball, you've got Ben White making an overlapping run. You've got, Odegaard within, 10 yards of him. You've got Havertz coming over to that side of that pitch as well. On the left-hand side, when you've got Martinelli, there's about 40 yards of space and it's just him on his Todd. So I do, feel a bit sorry for me in that sense. And I was really hoping that when Merino came in last season that he would fill that Xhaka role and connect a little bit more. But because of his injury and then him having to play as an auxiliary striker, that never happened. But I also think that, with Martinelli, I thought in the Villarreal game, I thought he looked a lot better. And I think one of the things that made him look a lot better as well and helped him out was Calafiori at left back. Getting close to him, giving him an option, getting close enough so that the defender who's covering, or he's not doubled up. Martinelli's not doubled up, and if he's got one-on-one with it, the defender's got to make a choice. He's got to make a choice of, do I cover over that pass? And then Martinelli's got that freedom to cut inside or go beyond him. Whereas before, Martinelli's receiving the ball. There's not another Arsenal player for 20 yards. So I know as a defender, all I have to do is watch his touch, watch the ball, don't watch his feet. I know he's not going anywhere. I can fully concentrate on him. And it's evident. You see that how evident it is because of, it's kind of almost a bit of a rotten joke of the paucity of our attacking threat down that left-hand side. But, I think I wouldn't be it would hurt me, I guess, because I said I really love his enthusiasm. I love the effort that he puts in. His defensive work is so underrated, Martinelli. But as you said earlier, with that Brighton thing, if there's a magic number that a club are willing to come in for, I would, and then reinvest. But hopefully, maybe, like I said, you get a little bit closer, get people a little bit closer to him. Supposedly, Gyökeres likes to come out a bit Thierry Henry-ish, likes to come out onto that left-hand side. So that might help him and give him an extra person to bounce off, an extra an option to make people think twice about it. And maybe he might rediscover his form, because it's been far too long since he got that season where he scored, was it 15 goals or something like that. He's been too poor for too long. And I think this is a massive make or break season for him.
Yeah, it does feel like it's difficult, isn't it? Because I feel like I said that last season as well, but there was still. It's very easy to find an excuse for Martinelli, and I think in most times I'm justifying them as proper leveled excuses. And every season, every summer, I come back and I go, well, there's something that's changed now. And as you say, last summer it was Merino coming in. Season before, we had other changes in place. Xhaka had left. That was the reason why, and we were looking for that replacement. I think I would also look at this season. I say it's Zubimendi coming in, because the player we thought, I think the player we thought Rice was going to be for us is not the player that Declan Rice is for us.
And that's not a DM.
Yeah, exactly. He was a DM in a 2, and Souček was the one that was making most of the forward runs. Obviously, towards that last season, he was there. Rice was getting on the ball a bit more. He was progressing upfield, but still, the passes he was doing was still conservative. He's never going to knit a beautiful through ball for us in the same way that Zubimendi would. Now, you could say, oh, I've seen Declan Rice play a good pass, but there's playing good passes and there's playing great passes. There's a difference there, and I think that's part of it, that I'm interested to see how Martinelli, or at least not necessarily Martinelli, I'm interested on how that left side is going to work. That whoever that left winger is, it doesn't matter who I think it is over the last couple of seasons, it's a graveyard shift for anybody in our squad.
I mean, you can see that by the number of times Arteta has made substitutions to bring Trossard on or off. It's almost every game. And it's almost 60, 70 minutes. One over the other is always coming off, because you just very rarely you getting anything from the player who starts.
Yeah, I think it was part of it. And I'm hoping that the balance, that we look far more balanced with our squad shape this season. And yeah, towards the latter end of the preseason, the adjustments we've made with the midfield. You can tell that's why I don't think we started our first choice midfield in, what was the game before Bilbao? Was it Villarreal?
Villarreal.
Yeah, where we didn't play that midfield that we wanted, that I think we all expected. Was we played the front 3, but the midfield, clearly we spent a bit more time just orchestrating how that 3 is going to work together. And we've changed it. We've gone actually closer to what probably Rice is more used to of that midfield 2, rather than having him in that single pivot, because we know Zubimendi can do everything. He is just, he is the number 6 that we should have bought. We wanted to buy, right? So I think that's where I see a bit more of that hope that anybody out on that left wing will have a better season than they have for the last 2 seasons. I think I would look at, let's see how Madueke does as well. I wouldn't look to move Martinelli on right now, purely because, again, who would we want on that left wing as a winger? Because I don't think Eze's quite that player, if we're talking about Eze.
No, for me, Eze's in the middle.
Yeah, and then Rodrigo.
No, I'd fuck Rodrigo.
I've jumped on various different parts of this, probably as often as I jump between Sesko and Gyökeres on Rodrigo, but I think that question has probably been answered for me now that Man City look like they're clearing out some of their wingers to improve what they've done there. So that's another Spurs thing. Spurs are going to end up getting Savinho, and City will then get Rodrigo from Real Madrid onto that left-hand side. So, yeah, I think that's where I have some of the questions just ongoing. I think we just have to wait and see. It's about just stick with what we've got. The benefit of Martinelli is he's homegrown, so that works for us really well in Europe. So we don't have to try and find an English winger or another English player to help us out on that front. So yeah, I think I'm okay with our options. I would like to see more options come in, but not necessarily that left-hand side right now, because I kind of trust Madueke and Martinelli between the two of them to work something out. Now, it could be that we go, oh, we still haven't fixed the left-hand side at that point, and that's the reason why we don't win the title. But I think that's a system issue, not a personnel issue at that point.
I was looking at, someone did a compilation of Gorky playing in the UEFA Nations League C, which is the equivalent to the Conference League. I was in the English Football Conference League. He scored 9 goals in 6 games, and I was watching it, and most of the time he was going out on the right-hand side, then cutting in or going through the middle. But when I saw him in any highlights from our pre-season friendlies, he only ever went out onto the left-hand side. So he's adapted his game. When Madueke was playing for Chelsea, he was nearly always down the right-hand side. He's adapted his game to go over to the left-hand side. So it seems Saka is just going to be allowed to do whatever he wants on the right-hand side. Don't need to fix it because it's not broken. And then those two are going to be on the left-hand side. So Martinelli is either going to have to pull his socks up or he's going to be going off somewhere, because those two are going to be stepping on his feet. And Madueke looks like he's up for it.
Definitely, because he's got, both of them are basically fighting out for trying to get into their respective World Cup squads.
Yeah.
England have got a huge berth of left wingers. Same goes for Brazil, right? That Martinelli is very much on the cusp of that Brazil squad. He needs to have an excellent Brazil season. Though. Maybe, but I think that's the case for most international football as well. That if you're a player that isn't so dictated on systems, isn't so dependent on a system, then international football makes you look very, very good. Because no one's really got a proper system.
Because you're playing with the best of your country. And you don't always have to be the one pulling the line, towing the line. Yeah, we've got quite a few people that come and joined us. Lovely to see you all here. There's a few more. Mike Hertz has turned up. Patrick Carlson. Who else? Rudy Rastos has turned up. Lovely jubbly. Right. So anything else, Richard, before we move on to the next one?
No. Carry on, mate.
Oh, excellent. All my fucking things have disappeared. Luckily, I'm an adult and I saved it all to a WordPad document. Right. So our first 5 games, Richard. Right. While I jibber jabber along, I'm going to go and tell you what they are. I had written them all in there, but they've all fucked off. Man United away, Leeds at home. Then it's Liverpool away. Then it's home to Forest and Man City. So what's your thoughts on that? What is the minimum we expect?
Wow. I mean, that is a tough opening set of fixtures. Yeah, annoying. And it was like, that's one of the reasons why I say I've come off of social media after everybody, predictably lost their mind over the pre-season results. Can you imagine if we don't win every game in those 5 games? The toxicity is going to be so bad. I think
followers, Richard, come on.
Yeah. Sad days.
That's why I've lost 1,000 in pre-season. Well, it was that and cunty humans being cunty. That really didn't go down well.
I would say the Man United, 3 points from Man United, 3 points from Leeds, maybe a draw, maybe at Liverpool. 3 points against Mr. Marinakis' snitches, and City at home. Well, let's beat them again. Another 3 points. But it's going to be so tough, because as much as we invested and spent well and bought players in, so have Man City, so have Liverpool. All right, Newcastle haven't, and stuff like that. But it is going to be so thin. At the start of the season, everybody's going to be up for it. yeah, well, you know, it was one of those things where it was kind of, you know, I kind of can't wait for the season to start because I'm kind of sick of having to be an accountant and also be some sort of like, you know, business expert and attorney at law to try and work out all the nonsense that's been going on over the past summer. But then, let's say, I just think if these first 5 games don't go well, oh my god, it's going to be a miserable place to go. But I think the Villarreal game, I think we kind of showed our not Villarreal game, the Bilbao game. Sorry, I think we showed our true potential because I think that was the first time, as Josh alluded to, that we actually played something akin to our first 11 all together rather than a hodgepodge of one half here, one half there. So I say we just got to have no fear and just absolutely attack the game and just go for each team's throats and try and be aggressive, put it to bed, get on the front foot and get the points in the bag.
Josh, for some kind of reference, last season, Man United, we beat them 2-0 at home and it was 1-1 away. Leeds weren't there. Liverpool, surprisingly, 2-2 home and away. Nottingham Forest, where did they finish? Further down than I thought. 3-0 at home, 0-0 away. And Man City, we beat them 5-1 at our place and 2-2 away. So going by last season's results, we did quite well against that lot.
Yeah, I would. I think my conservative of when you said what should be acceptable, I think 3 wins and 2 draws. I won't say which games they happen. I won't put my. I'm not that confident in that regard, but yeah, I think we've got the beating of most of the teams in the league, to be honest. If United don't sort out their goalkeeper situation and they don't sort out their central midfield situation before the weekend, which fingers crossed, Mr. Donnarumma and Mr. Saliba stay put at their current clubs until after we've played them.
Donnarumma and who?
Saliba.
Saliba?
From
As
Brighton.
in Justin?
No.
He's looking old, bless him.
He
Who's the believer?
Carlos.
Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton central midfielder.
Never heard of him. It's a made-up name. Carry on.
He's only played for them for about 3 seasons.
Is he a regen?
Yeah, he's a regen of Basuma.
Ah, Masuma. How's he doing?
Oh, well, you know how Basuma's done. He got told off by Thomas Frank.
Did he?
He was the one that was told he wasn't making the squad because he turned up late too many times.
Uh-oh.
He pulled in Aubameyang.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess didn't pay off for him, did it? That was quite funny. Anyway, yeah, where were we? Yeah, so because United won't have sorted that out by then, fingers crossed. I trust us again, similar kind of results. We should be beating them. I think we're in the right position to do so as well. I can't see anything that I've seen from pre-season that makes me too worried about that situation. Also, the case of knowing that we look like we're only getting started in terms of things. We're not peaking so early. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that kind of setup. Same goes for Liverpool as well. I'm not too bothered by that in that regard. I think we should, as you say, 2-2 in the last season. Again, a draw is a perfectly acceptable result. Remember, we didn't lose the title because we didn't beat Liverpool. We lost the title because in our first, 5 or 10 games, we had those 2 red cards for things that you never saw ever again. So, yeah, I think that's our biggest enemy is not the 11 players that are lining up against us, I would say. Because I think with the wins that we saw when we were working it out before we realised we couldn't win the title and so everybody started to put the brakes on and we went for the Champions League instead, that we could have won it. We could have won it if we weren't given those outrageous calls early in the season.
And expect more of them this coming season because they are scum. I did a tweet the other day that was it's quite all I seem to do now is retweet pictures of old Sony equipment. Oh come on, where
That's very niche.
It is. It's wonderful. And old F1 cars, and obviously and cats. I know I definitely tweeted it, and obviously cars because cars are important to me and the world. I did something about. Oh, here we go. I did August the 8th. Feel free to go and check it. My tweet said, we lost the league by 10 points. If we had a player who could have scored in 1 goal in half of these games, we would have been champions by 6 points. Don't tell me Gorky would not have been able to do that. This is why I have plenty of belief, hope, optimism for this season. We drew against Brighton, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Fulham, Everton, Brighton, Villa, Forest, Man United, Everton, Brentford, Palace, Liverpool. If he'd scored 6 goals in those 12 games, we would have been champions. And I think it comes down to something as basic as that. And as for the fixtures, we will beat Man United. We will beat Leeds. If we get a draw with Liverpool, I'll be happy. We will beat Forest because they are a one-season wonder and they started to drop away anyway. And Man City, I mean, they are going to be a basket case this season because you smell it in the air that Pep is wanting to leave. And I think this might be his last season. He's going to go all out, spend a fortune to try and do a Ferguson and win the title and leave. This is when someone reminds me that Ferguson didn't win the title and then leave, but I'm sure that he did. Oh, Jesus, it's a moth. Thank fuck for that. I had a hedgehog come in the house last night. I accidentally locked it in Sean's room and it shit in one of her bags full of clothes. Anyway, life goes on. Do either of you give a flying teaspoon of hedgehog shit about squad numbers? For people not watching, Josh has gone all the way back in his chair and took a breath. Richard has leant forward and gone, Go on then, tell me.
I do.
I think it depends, right? Depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about our centre-back being number 10, then there's an issue there. If it's one of our central midfielders having a number in the low 40s, then yeah.
That I don't mind. But when Mosquera rocked up with number 3, I did sigh.
Is he number 3?
Yeah.
I'm not having that.
It annoyed me for ages when Sanya was number 3. That irritated the crap out of me. I am a bit of a stickler. And my girls' team.
How do you number them?
Well, they choose their own numbers. So as long as they've not got a clashing number. So like my daughter, she was number 14. She then decided that she wanted to be number 81. I said, absolutely not. It's got to be a number under 50. So I think she's got to be 44 now. But one of my centre-backs, she decided to get number 11 printed on her shirt. And it annoyed Beth, I love you. But yeah, it annoyed the ever-loving crap out of me that my centre-back has number 11 on the back of her shirt. So yeah, I don't know if that's if you're worse than me, Danny, but that sort of thing does slightly irritate me.
Well, clear his throat. Right, shirt numbers. Ben White gets number 2, right back. Saliba, as he plays on the right-hand side, gets number 6, and Gabby, left-hand side centre-back, gets number 5, the old Kia, the old Bold and Adams. That's how it works. Zubi gets 4 because you're playing in front of the centre-backs. Calafiori gets... gets 20... No, Calafiori gets number 3. And then when I'm playing FM, my backup left-back and right-back get 33 and 22 each. So MLS gets 33, and if we have a third left back, he gets 333. That's how it works. Rice will be given the number 8. Odegaard will get the number 10 that he should rightfully be wearing. Gorky should wear the number 9. But if he's man enough to say, I want the 14, you get the 14, but you also get the grief that comes with that shirt. And you'll be beaten to death with football shoes if you don't score 50 goals in your first season. You can't. Right back 2, left back 3, centre backs 5 and 6. The Michael Thomas, central midfield number 4, Kevin Richardson number 4, Patrick Vieira number 4. Don't tell me he wasn't a defensive midfielder because that's where he played. He played fucking everywhere because he was genius, but he wore the number 4. I'm not having it. You need to sort this shit out, Arteta. Otherwise, I'm going to start a petition, get 500,000 people to sign it, and then Parliament will ignore it. But it's the thought that counts. So there you go. Anyone want to say anything about that? Because I will fight you for it.
Yeah, I told you I wasn't as crazy as you, but yeah,
Chris is currently punching the air and high-fiving himself in the mirror.
I have a question for you. If Gyökeres is wearing the 14, who's wearing the number 9?
No one. It is going to be sent on a ship back to Brazil. I mean, it'll never be worn again. Filth. The number 9 will be given to Havertz.
Okay.
Isn't that shirt is that shirt number kind of cursed? I don't think we've had a decent number 9 who's had a good career of us since bloody Adam Smith, wasn't it? Yeah, but even he was a bit hit and miss with us. He wasn't exactly.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like he didn't set the world alight for us. He was. I think he was okay-ish. You can even say the same with like Reyes. Reyes was decent, very decent, but I don't think we've had an outstanding number 9.
No,
have we?
Don't think so. Because
what's that on your head?
Eduardo.
Oh, look at that.
Eduardo's what could have been. What could have been?
Or Eduardo.
Yeah.
Procrastinating Womble, ex-professional footballer, says, as an Ipswich supporter, Goon is second. That's fair enough. Ed Sheeran has the number 17. It's not, I know he has it in, has it? Because he part owns the club and sponsors the shirt. And
he's had it every season they've been in the Championship.
4 seasons, I think he's had it.
Yeah, he didn't have it last season. I don't know why.
They didn't let him have it for the Premier League?
No, he didn't have a shirt number last season, but he has for the Championship.
Noza says, I know it's difficult to emulate the success of Walcott. Drago says, or was it 7? You say it, Nketiah. Jesus. John Radford says Des. True. Referees from the north, PW says. Is that PW? You in the Philippines? Is that a Philippine flag or is that a what do you call it now? Czech Republic, Czechia? I don't know. Apparently, it's the greatest. Prague is the greatest city in Europe to live in. There you go. Not been there. Sean loved it. So I've had quite a few people tell me it's a beautiful place to live. Chark Poo Young. It's actually number 9. Malcolm McDonald wore number 9 and then got injured and never played again. Super Mac. Eduardo says Pat Brady. My favourite Arsenal pod, Slante, Danny Boy, Seamus, Sean, and and her mum. Not my mum. My mum's currently up there in a Little Ern with my brother. Little Ern, hello. They won't be going. Although we do take my mum's urn out on Mother's Day and her birthday. We take it to a garden centre. We just sit her on the table with a cup of tea. It's the thought that counts. I don't really believe in anything other than sooner the better AI wipes us all out because we're a pox on the universe, the human race. Didn't Lacquer wear the number 9? Probably. Yeah. Sometimes I think of some of the players that have played for Arsenal, and as if I read a book about it, and I vaguely remember what this person called Lacazette. I have no real memories of anything. We live in a simulation. That's bloody why. Yes, so that's all my shit there done. We've got a few people. If you've got any more questions, and if you two have got anything else you want to say, pipe up. Jimmy H says, Richard, with Gorky, it's easy for me to say that, is basically his abroad base. What? With Gorky is basically his abroad basically classed as null and void, as that league was so poor it was graded lower than the Championship. Good luck with that. Yeah, put your glasses on because it makes no fucking sense.
Say, what?
That won't help. Won't help.
York is basically his abroad, basically club. Okay,
because the goals in the Portuguese league only were worth 1, where the Premier League were worth 2, 1.5.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, if you half the goals he scored in Portugal and applied them to him, he scored half the goals. Still, what, about 15 a season? If we had a 15-goal striker last season, we would have won the league. So I'd be happy with that. He could absolutely be a flop. Not work in this league, and this league be too difficult, and our style of play and the fact that he's facing low blocks all the time might be a hindrance to him. But when I saw him play against Saliba and Gabriel, he was one of the few strikers that I saw that made it a hard night's work for Saliba and Gabriel. And if anyone's making them two sweat, they're going to be okay with me. So yeah, I'm all right with you, Chris.
He scored 54 goals from last season, Rich.
Yeah. Supposedly, he's a bit of a stat padder, supposedly, but I don't care.
He scored a hat-trick against Man City. He scored 4 against Azerbaijan. Bless you. Josh, what do you think
about Gyökeres? I think it's one that, if we're looking at all the strikers that were available, and sorry, Mr. Isak, clearly his finishing isn't that good, or his instinct isn't that good. If he couldn't work out that all of the moves for strikers were happening quicker than he was, I think it's a better buy than Sesko, and I think we've done some. From what I understand, the contract we've put him on is a very smart contract from our point of view. If it doesn't work out, that at least he's not on 300 grand a week, and we have the problem we have right now with half of our fringe players that we're trying to get rid of, is that their wage demands are so high. I'm not worried about it. I feel like it's sorry, Jimmy, it's negativity for negativity's sake, and we don't need it today. It's positive vibes.
All right. Another question from and lots of numbers. Richard, is Jesus injured again? If not, how long will it be before he gets injured in training, meaning he stays on the Arsenal books for another year?
I think he posted a picture earlier. I think we said this earlier, that I think he's now back out on grass. I think so. He'll start doing some outdoor grass work in football boots. Maybe in a couple of weeks or a week or so, might start progressing to simple stuff with a football. I don't think we're going to see him. What would you say? Like late October, early November, maybe.
It was meant to be December, wasn't it? But yeah, it looks like it's going to be sooner.
It's such a shame. Like I said, that guy came in and he was outstanding for us until he got injured right before that World Cup, and then he's never been right since. I think we'll probably see him in a couple of cameos and see him knocking about in the season. I think Arteta does like him, but unfortunately, I think his body is just betraying him, and I think that he'll probably go in January and maybe next summer. But unfortunately, that injury is too significant for us to get rid of him this summer, unfortunately.
Do you want to bang on that, Josh, or do you want the next question?
I think we can sell him this summer, and we'll sell him to the Brazilian club.
Good. They have a habit of doing that
so?
at the moment.
They
get the local supermarket to pay his wages. And
when's their season start?
January.
Yeah.
They're midway through it at the moment. So it's one that when he was doing his rehab, it was doing it all at Palmeiras. He wasn't doing it over here. He was doing it back in Brazil.
No, it doesn't start in January. No, it starts in the summer.
I thought it was a December one, because that's when he left.
No,
they flipped it.
They play their thing, which is like a London league. Like my team, Corinthians, play in the Paulista League, and then that's all like the local teams in that area. So you'll get like Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Barnet, Leyton, Orient. They'll all play together, and that's the Paulista League, and that's shit. Anyone can win that. And then they've played 3 games of the current season, I think. Yeah, so my team, Corinthians, have played 2 or 3 games. So
Well, even more reason they should go in early then and get him in this summer.
Just looking. Oh, bollocks. They've played 18 games. Oh, is that right? Is that this season? Fucking hell, it is. There, they've. So it could be they've played 17 games. You're making me question myself now. My teams go down to Corinthians.
When was their first game this season? Was it in
Serie A? Runs from. I've got to go to the actual season now. 29th of March to the 21st of December. So neither of us are right.
Oh, it's January.
Mate, the collective knowledge of us three on here just absolutely
same as MLS.
Fantastic.
Same as MLS.
MLS starts in September.
What?
Yeah.
They moved that as well.
Oh no, NFL starts in September.
Yeah, NFL starts in September. Wrong football.
Oh.
MLS starts in March.
Yes. Right, next question for Mr. Sai of the Anvesh. Josh, will a new team,
team? Yeah, you were right the first time.
Will a new team be relegated in the Premier League this season, or the same three up and down like last season? Well, the new three teams are Burnley, Sunderland.
Yep.
And
we're playing one of them.
Leeds.
Yep.
What do you reckon? Because you are a bit of you were watching the game at the weekend, weren't you?
Which game?
Championship games.
Oh yeah, I was watching the championship.
Don't question me, boy.
Yeah, I was watching championship. I think I'm very surprised people are saying Leeds are going to stay up, bearing in mind who their manager is, and they've bought a whole new back four.
Haven't they just bought
Dominic
Calvert-Lewin as well?
Yeah, they got him on a free.
We wanted him. Fucking hell, that went wrong, wonky.
It was a bit interesting when it was like he was linked with Man United as well, and suddenly he's ended up at Leeds and saying to Everton, "Oh, I don't want to be in a relegation scrap anymore." So they've gone, "Oh, okay." And now he's joined Leeds.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Only renting Leeds while you're there. Don't bother buying.
Yeah, so I think Leeds are going to go down. I think Burnley are going to go down. I'm not sure about Sunderland. Sunderland are either going to go down with a record low points tally because none of their kids work out, or all of their kids go firing and they amass something like 35, probably 35 points. So that's the question then on who's not going to get 35 points from the rest of the league. And there's, I think, three candidates for me: Wolves, West Ham, and Brentford. Yeah, and I don't know about Brentford again. Is probably one of those that now that everybody's pivoted and said, well, they're the ones that are going to go down, Brentford could just actually be fine. I think the issue is, it's a bit like Wolves last season. You could just change your manager because the squad's strong enough. It's normally the squad is going to be strong enough to win enough games to get you through. Yeah, so I think that's where I'm hedging it, but I'm not sure who goes down just yet. I don't think it will be West Ham. I think they would. Let's put it this way: I think Potter will come good at that point. If they stick with Potter, he will eventually scrape them through, and then from that season onwards, he'll be fine if they keep him over the next summer. So yeah, I think it's Wolves. I didn't quite trust the business they've done this summer.
I think for Brentford, it all depends on how quickly they sack Keith Andrews. It's his first job in the Premier League. Just no. Burnley are obviously going to sack Scott Parker. He gets sacked by every club that he gets promoted.
The quicker he does it, the quicker we've added. The big issue with Burnley is that the great defence that they had doesn't exist anymore. They lost the goalkeeper, who was amazing, and they lost one of their defenders. And they don't score goals. Yeah, that's the issue. They don't have a good forward line.
And Spurs are going to struggle again because they're shit. And Man United are going to struggle again because they are shit as well. Now I've got some more things starred. We need to get a move on. We've done that one. Pat Brady says, how funny was the Super League last night? For people who don't know, Spurs were 2-0 up, all tweeting and doing videos. Hey, we're going to win another trophy. and then it was 2-1, and then 96th minute it was 2-2, and then they lost on penalties after being ahead in that as well. So, if you have any sympathy for them fucks,
I was very happy I turned it back on.
I couldn't even find it, let alone turn it back on. So no, fuck them. And much like formerly known as says, what do you think of Tottenham? Well, it used to be shit, and now it's failure. Oh, we've won a cup. No, you played someone in the final who scored an own goal. You should that competition should be null and void because you did fuck all. I don't even think you had a shot on goal other than the own goal. So fuck off, the lot of you arseholes. Fucking hate them. Des says, we were meant to talk about this. Start with you, Richard. Does the panel have any thoughts on Tony Adams' controversial comments on Odegaard captaincy this week? Explain what happened, Richard, and then give your opinion.
So I think I've not seen the full event. Supposedly it was, I don't know if it was like some sponsored kind of evening with Tony Adams and some other people and stuff like that.
He was supposedly in Ireland doing some kind of Irish podcast about football.
Supposedly it was very, very jovial, very, very complimentary and stuff like that. And then he started going off about the big thing that Arteta needed to do, and he hadn't. Then he failed to do it. Was strip Odegaard of the captaincy and make Declan Rice the captain. I think that's the crux of it. Unless anybody wants to add bits that I'd missed onto it, but yeah,
he said that Declan was a winner. Arteta's not a winner, and Odegaard doesn't make you a winner, but Declan Rice does make you a winner. Something to that effect.
I mean, look, I love Tony Adams. I grew up idolising that man. He's called Mr. Arsenal for a reason. You know, the only player to skipper a league-winning side in 3 different decades. What a colossus of a human being, and you know, you look at all the great stuff that he has done outside the game with the Sporting Chance Clinic and stuff like that. So I'd be loath to denigrate and mock the great man, but I think it's, for me personally, I think it's a very outdated and outmoded school of thought. I do see what he's saying, because he was that kind of, you know, run through a brick wall, everybody running behind me kind of captain. You know, whilst I don't think he was, and you know, I didn't seem like an abusive kind of captain, but he would have no qualms with, as I think a very famous story that he did to Lee Dixon on the eve of his first North London derby, having him up against by the throat, you know, installing what it means to play in the North London derby. But I personally think it's a bit of an outmoded and outthought of process. I don't think the captaincy is that important anymore as it was. I think having a bad captain is very, very important, and it's important not to have a bad captain, but I don't think it's massively necessary to have a Tony Adams like captain anymore, kind of thing. You know, that being said, if it was Declan Rice who was the captain, I think, you know, he done well at West Ham. I think he leads by example. He'd be a phenomenal choice. I think Odegaard is a different style of captain. You know, you don't all have to be a baller and a shouter and stuff like that. He's somebody who sets standards and, you know, again, leads by examples. You know, it takes the ball on, you know, asks for the ball and stuff like that. So he's a different kind of captain, which I don't think is a bad thing. And mentality wise, you know, this is a guy that, from 16 years old, he went over to play for Real Madrid, and he's played for X amount of different clubs. And I don't think there's a mentality issue there at all.
Yeah, I'd agree with the general sentiment on that. I think to add to it, and then probably end on a tongue-in-cheek comment, just to brighten it up a little bit. But for me,
really nice.
Based on Adams' comments and based on what he thinks a manager should be doing, Adams would have been stripped of the captaincy. by Arsene Wenger because he didn't embody the Arsenal that Wenger wanted to create. In the same way that he is saying that Odegaard doesn't embody the Arsenal that Arteta's trying to create, and Declan Rice better fits that. Our captain would have been Dennis Bergkamp. That, again, another leader, another great player who sets standards greater off the pitch than what Tony Adams was doing. In terms of, he's even said it, when Dennis Bergkamp turned up and you hear Ian Wright eulogize about how he was the guy that kind of was the catalyst, and then Arsene came in and then built upon, okay, this is what Dennis Bergkamp was doing, a bit like how Arteta did with Kieran Tierney, in the terms of we had a load of players that didn't care about work rate. And he went, no, Kieran Tierney's the guy. You all need to train like this guy. It was the same way that you need to all recover. You all need to eat. You need to work like Dennis Bergkamp. And you will become as great as him in half of the back four that now slate Arsenal on a regular basis. Got probably 3 or 4 extra years out of their career due to the work that Dennis Bergkamp and Arsenal did when he turned up at the club. So, I think it's one that, a bit like there's other younger professionals who have tried their hand at being a manager, and haven't made it, have ended up going back into the media circuit, that I think it's one that just managerial positions just weren't necessarily for him, just based on this kind of mentality. And I think for all further public public conversations that happen with Tony Adams should all be conducted with the statue that's outside the Emirates, because that's the best way we'll get any reasonable answer from him. And it stops him tainting almost that legacy. As you say, Rich, that's the guy that we want to see. We want to see the statue outside, and it's where you always have that question of, should we wait for a player or manager to go beforehand so they can't taint their legacy in that way? A bit like with Arsene Wenger. Would you wait for him to go before we built a statue for Arsene Wenger? Same with George Graham as well. I think both legendary managers. Neither of them have that kind of permanent fixture for us, but they both deserve it as well. But I think that's what I would have for it ultimately.
Before I say my thoughts, Mike Hertz is going. Cheers, Mike. Go and look for Not Another Arsenal Podcast. That's Mike and his 3 mates, and it's one of about 2 or 3 that I watch, because they're nice people and I enjoy it. But it's usually at 3-4 o'clock AM UK time. Tony Adams is my favourite ever Arsenal player. Same birthday as me, but he's 4 years older. So, greatest player at the club ever, but it hurts the next. But he's a shit person, personally. We may have changed his life now. But as a human being, he was an arsehole. Prison, drinking, women, driving, drunk. He's a shit pundit, and he's a shit manager. He failed at Wickham. He failed at Portsmouth. He failed at Qarabağ in Azerbaijan. He's still my favourite player, and probably one of the greatest players the club's will ever have, has ever had. One more staff captain, fantastic, magnificent. But he talks a lot of bollocks. Although I agree, Declan Rice, if we sign Declan Rice and Odegaard today, Declan Rice should be captain. But you can't swap your captain. You've got the Xhaka situation, the Aubameyang situation, and these people need to remember those situations. It causes turmoil at the club. Declan Rice is going to be shouting and screaming and pointing and doing all that stuff, whether he's captain or not. There's no need to change it. Now being a captain isn't as important as it was back in Tony Adams' day, which for me were the glory days, and I don't like modern football. So magnificent. He's a lovely bloke now. He's turned his life around. He's a model citizen for all the people that have had all the problems when they were arseholes back when they were in their 20s. He stopped it all. We all did dodgy things in the 20s. He stopped it all by, his late 30s. And now he's nearly 60. He's a lovely bloke. But not a good pundit. Like Glenn Hoddle. Great player, shit pundit. Like most of them. Great players. I mean, Rooney is going to be on Match of the Day. That's just killed that programme. That just shows how much it is about who you were to get a job, not how well you speak. Because Dave Hillier, the much maligned Dave Hillier, would be a magnificent host of Match of the Day. He doesn't fuck about. He makes sense when he talks, and he's been through it all, and he's a lovely bloke. I'd love to see any of them. So many people I'd rather see someone who never played football host Match of the Day, rather than that granny shagger, that bald fraud, that northern monkey who can barely string a sentence together. I'm not going to say his name because he might be listening.
Mark Chapman.
If you are. I fucking hate him. But Tony Adams, just you're yesterday's man, I'm afraid. You've had your chance. You're much like Paul Merson. But Paul Merson's always been an arsehole, and he's an arsehole now.
Don't worry, Danny. Don't worry, Danny. Match of the Day has got Kelly Cates on it, and she didn't get there through. No, actually, I'm not going to be rude about Kelly Cates because she's a great presenter. She knows her stuff. And it doesn't matter who her dad is.
No, that's why she doesn't use her dad's name. Yeah. And who's the other one that's on there? The other woman? Is it
Gabby? Is it Gabby Logan? Or is it Alex Scott?
Gabby Logan, who also doesn't use her dad's name, which isn't her dad Terry Yorath. Yeah. And her name's Gabby Yorath. Mm-hmm. Another one who's worked her way all the way up. Isn't there because of...
She's married to Kenny Logan. Is it Kenny Logan? The Scottish rugby player.
To be sure. Anyway, so there you go. Dean says I'm a bit harsh. No, I'm not. He should have. He shouldn't have bothered saying it. It doesn't make you can't fuck around with shit like that. Drago says, when is Granit going to get his first red card for Sunderland, Richard?
About 14 minutes into the game, I would say, something like that. Maybe, I don't know.
Can you?
It depends. It's going to be one of those. If it was Lewis-Skelly, is back in full force. So yeah, with these new stupid rules that they're going to enforce for the first month and a half and then forget about. So I'm sure it'll be one of those ones that he'll get sent off of.
Now, Josh, my love, are you going to go higher? Or are you going to go lower? Remember, you get nothing for a pair in this game.
I'm going for lower. I don't think he gets a red card all season.
Fuck off.
One, because he was actually quite good towards the end of his Arsenal career.
Well, I love
not getting sent off. The other thing is he's not wearing an Arsenal shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Do whatever.
Got to remember that, the badge factor.
He'll be going full Cantona all game. They won't even be on TV. Final question from the wonderful Mike Hertz from Not Another Arsenal podcast. Josh, are we going to get any meaningful money from Sammy or Nelson, or will we forced to loan again? We've been through it, but I thought I'd ask it anyway.
Yeah, I think we'll get some meaningful money. If they end up with a loan, it's going to end up as an obligation. We're not going to get done again like that with Sambi, where he comes back from Seville because they don't want him. Yeah, I guess it also does define what's meaningful. If we get more than 20 million for them combined, I'll be shocked. I think we've played a blinder at that point.
Well, nowadays it's more about you pay 20 million for a player, 5-year deal. Each year you're allowed to take £4 million amortization off of him, and then you've got to take into consideration how much you've managed to get back on tax on that lot, I think it is, and then how much you're paying him a season. And you just go 3 seasons in, we might as well just cancel his contract. Yeah, Richard, what do you think?
Well, first off, the way you read that question, I thought you said Sammy Nelson. I was like, well,
I read it as that.
I thought the guy stuck his arse out of the North Bank.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I think anywhere from, I don't think we might get about 15 odd million for Nelson maybe, but I think Lokonga, he'll probably end up going out on loan and then his contract will just get terminated. Yeah, and anything north of 15 million, I'll be happy with.
Yeah, fair enough. Any points you want to make before we shut this shit down? Any of you?
No, not really.
Should I bother asking you where you think we're going to finish this season in the Premier League?
No. We're going to finish
top. I don't think we'll ever win anything under Arteta. He just we'll be 1-0 up and he'll just fucking stop playing football, and then we'll lose 2-1.
You've been listening too much to Tony Adams.
Yeah.
What are you meowing for? Hey?
Even a cat disagrees with you.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Lily. I think the bum. Oh, here she comes. The mother of the other two. It's cat anus time. Probably. Show me your bum hole, Lily. What a way to end a podcast. What are you going for, Richard?
I had it so in my work predictions, which I've got to get into tomorrow. I had Arsenal finishing third, but winning the FA Cup and the Champions League.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'll take that at the end of the season.
Jimmy is saying, Danny, give that question a quick once over. What question, Jimmy? Jimmy, there's that one. Jimmy says, modern day podcasts talk more sense than every mainstream output. We'll have that. You won't be able to understand Rooney. Which one, Jimmy?
Oh.
Is anyone going anywhere nice on your holidays this year? I wait for Jimmy to get back to us. Keep going. Oh my God, you've got to go further back. Jimmy. It's like the Saddam Hussein statue. Fantastic idea at the time, but overall clearly a bad idea.
By this point, Jimmy could just typed it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are a gentleman club, and Martin is clearly a very smart individual who knows the club and who knows what he does behind the cameras and doors, what people see. I can't go any further back than that.
He says you got to go down. It's about the Scouse.
About the scale? No, I ain't going any more further back. Can't find it. Save it for next week, Jimmy, because we won't be on. It may be the week after that. If we're on, because you never know, do you? Right, it's getting late.
I think I've got it. It wasn't back. It was you need to go back. It was another question. Who will be the first manager sacked? Money on United. That's not even about the Scouse.
Bloody hell, Jimmy. You've let yourself down there, son.
That's coming up on my work competition thing as well. And I've gone for Daniel Farker.
Oh, it's not without a doubt. It's Keith Andrews. Never managed a game in his fucking life before he started mucking around with Brentford. So so far he's 0 for 0. He will be straight. I mean, how old is he? He's about, I think he's 12 or something like that. He's fucking 44. I've got socks older than that.
That doesn't even make him the youngest manager by a lot.
Hold on, Sunderland have got someone called Regis Labrise. Oh, wasn't he the
Lorient manager? They got them relegated.
Yeah, he could well be the out on his arse as well. So I'm going to go Brentford. Keith Andrews 6-1, joint favourite. Oh, and Des says Parker. That's another obvious one. He will do, but it depends how long they'll hold on to him for. Right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Josh, any wise words from you or your plant?
Parker out.
Oh, lovely. And Richard, thank you very much for your time. And still poncing the Wi-Fi off the library. That's lovely to see.
Excellent. Thank you for having me, Danny.
What time are they kicking you out?
It's fine. They let me sleep here. It's okay.
Excellent. Right, people, that is it. Hopefully we'll be doing podcasts a little bit more often this season because I've got bugger all to do. And you can see I've been out all day today and I've got a little bit of sunburn. So everybody who does the podcast last season is all up for doing them again this season. One of us is going to be a little bit busy with stuff coming up for the next few months. So he may not be around as much as he'd like to be. Or he'll be doing it from the car. Oh, podcasting from the car. God, the good old days. Right. Thank you much to everybody in the chat. You have all been amazing. Remember, stick this in an email and CC it to every single person you ever met in your life. Thank you very much. Come on, the Arsenal. Up your bum.